Jordan Poole wasn't even a finalist for Most Improved. That is starting to look really dumb, and I should know because I had Darius Garland #1 and Desmond Bane #2. But the difference with Jordan Poole is his improvement is enough to change the NBA season. There's a chance that Jordan Poole makes the Warriors NBA champions. Not because Jordan Poole is Michael Jordan or anything, but if you add a guy that good to Steph, Clay, and Draymond, it could change NBA history. No matter what happens though, the Warriors have a big decision to make after the season. There is actually a chance that Jordan Poole is on a different team in the near future. And I know that sounds crazy, but once you hear the details, it'll make sense. But before we go any further, I heard a rumor that if you hit subscribe, your team will find a late first-round pick like Jordan Poole. Remember, it's just a rumor, not confirmed by Woj or Shams. When the Dubs picked Poole, though, late in the first round at 28th in 2019, people said it was a reach. I mean, if you look at the Ringers 2019 mock draft, they had him going 47th, and that's up from 59th, the second from last pick in the draft. But nobody knew that Jordan Poole was built different. When the pandemic hit, he couldn't play basketball for 9 months. That is a huge hit for any young player. So instead, he forced Warrior coaches to meet him with gloves and masks on to practice. Poole spent more time in the Warriors gym than any other player, according to the team. But he was sent to the G League bubble for a reason. There was a lot of work to do. As a rookie, he shot an embarrassing 33% from the field and 28% from three. But he came back from the G League a totally different player. Clay was injured to start this year, so Poole started next to Steph Curry. The two were so good, we all agreed the Warriors are back. But once Clay returned, Steve Kerr sent Poole back to the bench. He only started 8 games from January through mid-March, and while he was still good, once Steph Curry got injured, everything changed. In the last 23 games, Poole scored 26 a game, hitting more threes than anyone in the league at 39%. He shot the ball better than Steph did this season. The hope was that Poole would turn into like a good rotation player, but now he is part of their core. Even Steph admitted, we can't take him out of the starting lineup. A back-to-back MVP humbled himself enough to come off the bench so that Jordan Poole could start. So I think, especially with Devin Booker's injury, that Jordan Poole is enough to win the Warriors a chip. And I am not overreacting. This is not a fluke. One of my favorite channels, Thinking Basketball, talked about this. Poole is so much more than just a shooter. He has passes that show elite vision. Look at him get Gary Harris to bite here with just his eyes. His off-ball movement is so Steph-like. And Poole focused on improving his defense, which is showing in the postseason. He dropped 30 in his playoff debut, 29 in the next game, but it's how he plays with the big three that makes Poole special. The lineup of Steph, Poole, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond has dominated. And I'm not even gonna show the numbers because they're so insane, they're not sustainable, but the chemistry is perfect. But there is one huge problem: his contract. The only reason he's even on this team is how cheap he is. Dude only makes $2.1 million this year, the same as Frank Kaminsky. But he's playing like a star, which never happens. Usually a team with 4 high-paid players like Golden State has to fill out the roster with like random vets. The only way they got KD was a once-in-a-lifetime salary cap spike. The only other way to improve is rookies. And James Wiseman was supposed to be this guy. Instead, Poole is a franchise cornerstone and Wiseman is riding the bench. Now they have a huge decision to make with Poole's money. They can extend him this offseason, which seems like a no-brainer, but the amount of money that could take is insane. In 2023, they'll have Steph, Clay, and Draymond on the books. Andrew Wiggins is a free agent, and they'll have to decide to extend Wiseman. Add Jordan Poole into that, and the cost to keep everyone together could approach $500 million. And I know a lot of fans are gonna say, oh, the team owner, Joe Lacob, he'll pay anything to keep this team together. I totally disagree. The most expensive team ever is this year's Warriors at $346 million. $500 million blows that out of the water. Lacob and Peter Guber bought the team for $450 million. How are they gonna top that in salary for 1 year? I think Poole should demand the max, which is about 4 years, $140 million for him. If the Dubs don't pay that, they can always wait until next offseason. He will be a restricted free agent, and yeah, another team could swoop in, offer him the max, but they could match anything. The issue is Poole has been so good that if he makes any of the All-NBA teams, first, second, or third team, he could get the rookie supermax. That goes up to 5 years, over $180 million. So Jordan Poole has all the leverage here. I am positive they will give him whatever he asked for this offseason. But that means they're gonna have to break up this core. They have to move on from either Andrew Wiggins or James Wiseman. They're gonna keep Jordan Poole. Wiggins was an all-star this year. He's key to their defense. Wiseman is more of a question mark, but has more future value, and they spent a number 2 pick on it. Right now, I would move on from Andrew Wiggins. Let me know what you think in the comments, who you would move on from, Wiggins or Wiseman. And honestly, my pick could change if Wiseman continues to suck. Look, later in the playoffs, we can talk about how the Warriors match up against, you know, the East teams if they make it that far. But they have a clear path in the West now. If you look at my playoff prediction bracket from before the playoffs started, I had a Suns-Warriors Western Conference Finals. That is looking real good for Golden State now because of Devin Booker's hamstring injury. We saw against New Orleans. Without Book, it is really hard for Phoenix to close games. CP3 had that closer role, but he gave it to Book this year. He is shooting 57% in the clutch. The Suns were 33-9 in those games. Now, I still think Phoenix can beat the Pels, but if Book is less than 100%, I would change my prediction to Golden State coming out of the West. Then, we got a huge injury in the East. Chris Middleton just got the same knee issue that kept him out a few games in December. Obviously, Giannis not having his best teammate is huge, so we could have a Warriors-Celtics NBA Finals. That would be so much fun, and I can't wait to break that down if we do get it. But Jordan Poole would guarantee himself a max contract if they made it that far. But we do know they are gonna have to extend Jordan Poole because of what he's turned into, and that will force a really difficult decision. Yo, I don't want to brag too much, but right now I'm going a perfect 8-0 in my playoff predictions. And if you want to see exactly, now I'm not talking about how many games, okay? So picking who's going to win every series is hard enough. Cut me some slack on how many games they were going to win it in, but right now I picked every single first round right. Obviously the first round's not over, but it's looking good. So if you want to see what my picks were and then what my picks were after that, click on this video. It is my official 2022 NBA playoff predictions.